Hi everyone, my name's Hannah and I'm a parenting blogger at Budding Smiles. Snufflebabe have asked me to share with you my top tips for helping your baby with sleeping and feeding when they're suffering with a cold. Now, whether it's your baby's first, second, 5th, 10th, 20th, 50th cold, it's horrible. It's horrible for us and it's horrible for them, and the poor little things can't understand what's going on. But there are things that you can do to help them to get through the other side and feel better again. Now, when it comes to sleeping, one thing that I've found to be really useful when both of mine have had colds, they're now 3 and 1, and this is elevating the head of the cot slightly. So whether that's by just putting some books under the actual frame of the cot to lift it up on the head end, or putting some towels under the mattress itself. You don't need to raise it ever so much. Obviously you don't want your baby sort of crumpling down to the end, but just elevating them ever so slightly seems to really help with getting those airways a little bit more free. Another great thing that you can do is put a few drops of the Snufflebabe vapor oil either into a bowl of water or onto a damp cloth over the radiator. Now, this is a fantastic product because it can be used from birth. It's weak enough not to cause any harm to your baby at all, but just strong enough to have a lovely soothing effect. It's essential that you still always follow the safe sleep recommendations, and you can find out more about those on the NHS website. Although you might feel like all you want to do is wrap your baby up and make sure they're really warm and snuggly, making a baby too hot can be incredibly dangerous. It can even prove fatal. When it comes to feeding, whether you are breastfeeding, bottle feeding or combination feeding your baby, they're probably going to struggle to take full feeds. They're feeling rotten, they're really drowsy, their airways are blocked, so feeding them little and often is really key here. You might need to change your position a little bit. Again, that slightly elevated position is really handy when it comes to feeding as well as sleeping. And if you are breastfeeding, maybe play around with positions a little bit with guidance from a breastfeeding peer supporter or your health visitor or midwife. One of the biggest issues when you are feeding your baby is about those blocked airways. Obviously they're using their mouth to feed, and so they need their nose to breathe, and if their nose is completely blocked up, they can find that really difficult. So there are a couple of things that you can do to help them here. One of them is the Snufflebabe saline drops or saline spray. It's exactly the same product. The drops are probably a little bit easier to use for small babies because you literally do just put a couple of drops, 1 or 2 in each nostril. And the spray is really handy for slightly older babies and toddlers. Again, you just do a little spritz up each nostril, and what that does, it just loosens up all that nasty mucus that's blocking things up for them. What you can then also use, again from birth, is the nasal aspirator. Now, the Snufflebabe nasal aspirator looks almost like a really flexible bendy straw. So you put one end in baby's nostril, you suck at the other end. It doesn't sound particularly pleasant, but don't worry, you're not going to end up with any snot in your mouth. There's a filter to avoid that happening. But obviously a newborn baby, or right up through until they're sort of 2-3 years old, they can't blow their own noses. So this is a really great way to just help get that mucus out of the nose, relieve some of the blockage and make things so much easier for them. There's every chance that for a couple of days you're not going to be moving too far away from the sofa. Arm yourself with everything you're going to need. Get a nice big bottle of water for yourself as well, some snacks, your phone and charger, the TV remote, a book. Just make sure that you're looking after yourself as well. When you do get up and about, I could not have managed without slings, especially for my first child. Baby's upright, and so again, naturally it's just helping with that airflow, helping their airways stay nice and clear. And my son would literally fall asleep like that if I put him into a sling. Now, obviously, if you are concerned in any way, or if your baby is under 3 months old, then go and see your GP as soon as you possibly can. It's always best to get medical advice if you're in any way unsure. So those are my top tips for sleeping and feeding when your baby has got a cold. I hope you find these tips helpful, and if your baby has got a cold right now, then I hope they're feeling much better soon.